Now, when it comes to watering, I have a few tips to ensure that you get it right. Right, folks, these are my 5 golden tips to watering. There are a lot more, but I really believe that if we apply these, we're going to have healthier, happier plants and a lower water bill. So, number 1 is, of course, always water early morning. Early morning watering, which means that the water has then soaked in. By the time the heat of the day arrives, it's going to be okay. The plants would have been hydrated. Avoid watering late in the afternoon, early evening. Certainly during the summer months, it's one of the best times for fungal diseases to take hold. Number 2, when watering, as I am here, it's important to remember that we're watering the soil and not the leaves. And it sounds kind of silly, but watch yourself next time you're watering. It's called targeted watering, and we really want to get the water around each plant and not willy-nilly. You know, I've seen some of you watering. It's quite therapeutic, but not very effective. So targeted watering is important. You'll notice that when I'm watering, I started there, I then moved along, ended there and then came back to the sky. Often what we do is we will just water one plant until we see water run off. Okay, not ideal. What we want to do, it's part of the targeted watering, but it's called gradual. So allow the water to gradually soak in. Soak in, soak in, soak in, come back to your first one, especially if you want to do a good deep watering. And this way, we achieve that very simply. My 3rd tip for watering is never ever allow so much water to get put onto a plant at one specific time that you end up with runoff. Runoff, number 1, is going to take away your soil, take away your nutrition, but the other thing that happens is we end up with a waterlogged soil. Now, we all know that plants need air in the soil in order to live. When you have a waterlogged soil, the roots cannot get enough oxygen and will end up actually rotting. Add that to the heat of the day, which is not when you should be watering, and it's going to be almost boiling. Not a good idea. The 4th golden rule is to apply and use the technology that's around us. Use Bluetooth watering systems, use controlled, timed irrigation systems, which means that you can have complete control of how and when you are watering. Of course, some of these gadgets are so smart that you can even link rain sensors to them. Even if there is rain predicted, you can then stop it simply by using the app. With multiple scheduling, plus the fact that you can control your watering schedule and on and off simply through Bluetooth. Of course, what it does mean is there's no connecting, no taps, no other things to switch on and off, and certainly no cables involved. Makes watering really easy. The 5th golden rule is very simple. Toughen your plants up. Water less often, but when you do water, water thoroughly. Very often, little bits of water. Okay, bit of an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. Little bits of water really cause surface rooting. We don't want that because they get used to it. They know the water's going to come to them. Whereas if we do a good deep watering, the roots will remain there, and also in the garden and in pots go seeking further. Included in this is to avoid watering foliage. We know that foliage is not the major uptake of water, but more importantly, on certain plants, watering the foliage actually encourages diseases. Those would be your pumpkins, fuchsias, loropetalums, plants that are susceptible to powdery mildew, and of course, downy mildew. What are we talking about? What's the big red flag? Roses. Right, which means that try to avoid wetting the foliage on those plants that are susceptible.